in head chair, we have Heidi Fowler.
Just
On the left, we have Russell Lenu. And on the right, we have Tara Onti.
Good morning and welcome to our Sunday morning session of the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association Provincial Championships. This morning we have our youth session as well as our bench only session. We've got about 40 seconds until we start. My name is Rhea Stinn and I'll be commentating for part of this morning.
And then my name is Brittany Schlater and I will also be here for part of this morning.
So we have a session of 5 youth lifters to start, and then we will do our bench only, and then the youth will bench and the youth will deadlift. So we've got a bit of an array of lifting this morning. The youth division is from ages 8 to 13, and we've got some youth from youth 1 to youth 3 this morning. So we're starting up with our first athlete. Kalina McKenna is a youth 3 lifter. And she's starting out with 40 kilos. And that looks like a good start for Kalina. And the youth division is a fairly new division in the CPU. I believe it's about 2 or 3 years old. Prior to that, the youngest age you could be to compete was 14, and then they recently changed it so that as young as 8 can compete. And they do have to comply by the same rules as all of the other athletes. So they need to listen to those commands. They need to make sure they're squatting deep enough, pausing their benches, locking out their deadlifts. So we've got a few boys and girls this morning. So next lifter is Hudson Fowler. And Hudson's starting out with 42.5.
Looks like a good start for Hudson. Referees agree, 3 white lights.
And Hudson's mom is actually the chief referee, so I was talking to him before we started lifting, and he was quite excited that he was going to have to listen to his mom and make sure he listened to all the commands that she said. So there's definitely a lot of powerlifting in his family. So Shay Lavallee is our next athlete. All of these lifters have done at least one competition within the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association in order to qualify for provincials. Very smooth looking opener.
You also need to hit depth, which is the top of your knee below your hip.
Next up we have Max Dolan, who will be lifting 55 kilos for their opener.
And for these youth athletes, there are some provincial and national records. So I believe Shay's attempts are all provincial records today, and there might be a couple more. We'll try and pull those up and get that information for you. But I see our next lifter, Callum, has a 91 kilo attempt in, which is obviously not a multiple of 2.5, which means it must be a record. Every attempt has to be a multiple of 2.5, as you might have noticed, besides any provincial or national records.
All right, hard load for Max.
Go, Max.
Another difference you might see with youth lifting is just a coach coming out just to ensure that the athlete is set up, just to make sure safety-wise they are where they need to be.
Smooth opener for Max.
so far we are seeing some very nice lifting from these youth lifters.
So next up we will have Callum, who is going for a record of 91 kilos, which is 200 pounds for their opener. It's a big opening squat, especially for the youth division.
Competes in the youth 366 kilo bodyweight class. All right, the bar is loaded for Callum. 200 pounds, let's hear it for Callum.
So being youth 3, Callum is either 13 or 14, or sorry, 12 or 13 years old.
Smooth
Oh, boy.
opener. Made easy work of that.
All right, so that concludes the first round of squats. And we will go back to, a little bit of a technical issue. I didn't even pay attention to the lights because I assumed it was a good lift. But that was a good lift. The score sheet, or the lights, seem to be having a bit of a technical issue. And it looks like actually there's a bit of a technical issue with the computer. There's no attempts in for the seconds yet. So it just looks like we might have a bit of a technical delay as we get that caught up.
We'd like to give a shout out to our sponsors while we have a moment. We have Welsh Kitchen. They offer fresh made soups, salads, sandwiches, breads, desserts, and more. Make sure to check them out for your pre or post meat fuel. Shout out to Flawless Nutrition. They're locally owned and operated. Be sure to stop by and stock up on your favorite supplements, wellness products, and apparel. They also have an online store. Olympia In-Depth Performance. They have proudly been serving the people of Weyburn in southeast Saskatchewan since 2007. Shout out to Inner Strength Products. They are, our main Canadian supplier of all essential powerlifting gear. And SBD Apparel. I think we're back up now? Yeah.
It looks like we've caught back up here.
Cool.
So Kalina's our next lifter, taking 45 kilos. And Kalina's from Regina, trains out of Metal, and is coached by Tanya Stevens, who Tanya hasn't competed in powerlifting for a number of years. She's been competing in strongman more lately, but I do think until very recently she was the holder of one of the national bench press records. So definitely has some history and some legacy in the sport.
All right, the bar is loaded for
All right, so we have caught up here.
Load the
So
bar for Kalina. Okay, the bar is loaded for Kalina with 45 kilos, which is just
all right, second attempts. A little bit of some confusion happening on the platform right now, but it'll get smoothed out here.
and a provincial record.
And a provincial record attempt. That looks like it should be a new record to
Oh,
me.
Good to me.
So we'll see what the referees say, because they do have a different point of view. 3 white lights. And I would think that based on how that moved, her third attempt, she should be moving up her provincial record a little bit more.
Definitely some room to bump that up.
All right, up next we have Hudson.
Next up, we have Hudson Fowler, who appears to be taking a provincial record as well at 46 kilos, which is 101 pounds.
We're loading up 46 kilos for Hudson. All right, the bar is loaded for Hudson. Trains out of Olympian Depth.
Come on, Hudson, let's go back.
And Hudson on his information sheet has it runs in the family is how he got interested in powerlifting. His dad was longtime SPA powerlifting president, Ryan Fowler.
Nice and smooth for Hudson.
That looked good.
3 white lights for Hudson.
And I'll take credit as his auntie as well. So
Definitely gets it from his auntie.
all right, I think this is another provincial record coming up here. All of these athletes today actually might be setting provincial records.
So next up we have Shay for 47.5 kilos, which is just under 105 pounds. Nice and smooth for Shay.
And she gets 3 white lights there. The thing I love watching youth lifting is when you see some very technical lifting happening at such a young age. I think it can have such a huge advantage for not just them becoming powerlifters, but any other sports or endeavors that they might do. Obviously the physical strength, and then also the mental component of just being able to be out here on a platform in front of an audience full of people and listen to an individual person and follow the commands and that sort of thing. So I think it can be a great developmental tool for both the physical and mental side. And that really speaks for all athletes, but I think it's so unique that we're getting them into it at a younger age now.
Definitely creates a sense of body awareness that I think you don't get out otherwise.
All right, bars loaded for Max.
So Max is our next lifter, and he's coached by his dad, who's actually, years ago, he competed in the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association and was also a strongman. I believe he competed at Western Canada's Strongest Man at least once, maybe a couple of times. And they're from Outlook, Saskatchewan.
Max is taking 57.5 kilos for his second. Drives that one up.
Looked like he caught the rack a little bit on that left side, but that wasn't a problem. So you might have noticed the spotters and loaders pushed the racks in for Max, and he still caught it on that left side, so he might just have a little bit of an asymmetrical walkout, and that could be why they put the racks in, just to try and help that a little bit. So this is a pretty small flight. There's only 5 people in this flight. So we're rolling through it pretty quick. Then we will take a short 10-minute break before we move into the bench-only portion for our provincials. And then the youth will be back out benching. So there'll be a little bit of a break here if you're just tuning in to watch the youth.
But next up we have Colum, who is taking 100 kilos for his second 9-kilo increase based on his opener. That should be no issues for him.
And it looks like he's been lifting for 2 years, and he started training because he wanted to work out with his dad, which is pretty cool to be able to share some passions there. Definitely a lot of families doing this together right now with that youth division. And a 100-kilo squat is a very good squat, especially for somebody who's 12 or 13 years old. And this is another provincial record attempt.
No problems there. The referees agree, 3 white lights.
And I'm finding there's such a fine line with youth lifting because that looked so easy to me. And it makes me want to take a huge jump for his next one. But sometimes with youth, like you said, that body awareness and body control, they're still learning it. So any big jumps can sometimes be a bit of a challenge. But in powerlifting, the athletes do get to choose what weight is going to go on the bar. So all of these athletes have chosen what their opener was going to be. And then the only thing is, once you put your opener in, it can't go down. So say you put your opener in too heavy and you miss it, you have to stay at that weight. You can't go any lower. So Hudson's up here with his final squat attempt of 50 kilos, and it will be another provincial record attempt. And training out of Olympia In Depth Performance, which is one of our sponsors today as well. He's also active in a number of other sports: wrestling, football, soccer, swimming, and tons of activities at school.
A little bit of everything.
A little bit of everything. Not sure what that technical delay was there, but we had a referee out of her chair, and she is back to it now.
Here comes Hudson.
Hudson's out now for his third attempt of 50 kilos. And a provincial record attempt as well.
No issues there. Looked good to me.
Kept his position really nice, and 3 white lights. New provincial record for Hudson.
Next up, we have Kalina, who is attempting the same weight at 50 kilos.
And Kalina also competes in cheerleading and basketball, volleyball, and flag football. So I think looking at this sheet, these athletes are definitely not strictly powerlifters. They are multi-sport competitors who have a wide range of activities. And I think I'm a believer that every sport that you play complements the other one.
Fights through that sticking point, nice and smooth.
And she doesn't get that one. So she got red cards from the sides, which is getting called on depth. So that means that she just didn't quite squat deep enough. So depth means that you have to squat with your hip joint below your knee. And even though these are youth athletes, they're still being refereed to the same standards as everybody else. So that one, she didn't quite go deep enough, so she got those red cards from the sides. And we have 3 referees around the platform, each one with their own unique view. So sometimes some people will have one hip that's higher or lower, but there are referees in different positions to be able to see that and catch that, and sometimes it works in your favor and sometimes it doesn't.
Now we have Shay taking 52.5 kilos for her third squat. No real issues there. We'll see what the referees say. 3 white lights. New provincial record.
So Max is up next, taking 60 kilos. He's taken pretty small jumps all day, just taking 2.5 kilos from his opener to his second, and then another 2.5 from his second to his third to get to 60 kilos. They haven't looked challenging to me, so it might just be sort of how he's feeling today, playing it a little bit conservative.
Perhaps building some confidence too. Just
Most
getting
definitely.
some experience on the platform can be intimidating for a lot of people.
And who knows? I know Max is involved in a lot of other things too. He's got football, soccer, track and field, drawing, video games, hanging out with friends. So some of these athletes, I believe, were in activities other than powerlifting yesterday. So it's possible that it's just sort of, let's compete today, have some fun, and
Just a little tired too,
Yeah.
maybe.
nice control on his walk out there.
Pushes through that.
Bit of a pause squat there.
Three
But
white
3
lights.
white lights.
It's a good look.
So it's fine for the athlete to stop in the bottom of the squat like that. They just can't double bounce. So they couldn't stop and then come up a little bit and go back down. If they stop, they have to just drive out of that position. So we have our final squatter of this morning. Wow, a 15 kilo jump for Callum.
Yeah,
So his
huge
second was
squat.
very, very easy.
Spotters are loading that up to 115 kilos, which is over 250 pounds, which is a massive squat.
And the one variation or the one change that we make with youth lifting is they do use a different bar. So right now on the platform, there's a 10 kilo bar. Typically it's a 20 kilo bar. So usually when there's two big red plates on the bar, it's 125 kilos, but because it's a 10 kilo bar, it's just 115 kilos.
All right, the bar's low for Callum. 115 kilos, 250 pounds, guys, this is huge.
And this is another provincial record attempt here for Callum.
Nice and confident on that walkout. Easy money.
Awesome, 3 white lights.
Referees agree, 3 white lights.
That was a very easy looking third attempt, but still just no form breakdown there, which is really what I like to see, especially with the youth lifting, just for their longevity in the sport and for helping with other sports as well. So I believe I see the clock there. We will now take a 10-minute break to reset for bench press. When we come back, we will be doing the bench press portion of our non-youth athletes, I guess, our bench press portion of the provincial championships. And then we will be back to do the bench press of our youth athletes. If you are interested in learning more about powerlifting in Saskatchewan, maybe you're interested in competing, coming out to the next event to watch, head on over to our website, saskpowerlifting.ca. On there, you can find all sorts of information about memberships, upcoming events, anything you might need to potentially compete in your next competition. The next competition in the province is the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Last Chance competition being held December 9th and 10th in Moose Jaw. And registration is still open for that until November 5th, and it could be your first competition. So definitely if this has spiked your interest, head on over there, check it out. There's some contact information. If you have questions you need to ask somebody, feel free to reach out there. We're also on Facebook and Instagram at Sask Powerlifting, so check us out there. And getting started in your first meet isn't that difficult. What do you need to start in your first meet, Brittany?
Honestly, you can show up with your membership, your True Sport CCS paperwork. Show up, tennis shoes. You just need shoes. You need deadlift socks, so socks that will cover your shins. That's about it, really.
And a singlet.
And a singlet, yes.
But again, if you talk to people who are in the sport, lots of people will have them that you could borrow. So the membership and the CCS certificate are probably the biggest things. The CCS certificate is an anti-doping course that you have to go through. So powerlifting in the Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association is a drug-tested sport. So you need to make sure that the athletes need to do that course so that they're educated and know their rights, their responsibilities, and know what the process would be if they were selected for drug testing.
But yeah, signing up for your first meet, not a whole lot you need. Most of it you can borrow, or you already should have.
And if you're training already, it's definitely can be a motivating thing to have a competition coming up and be actually training for something. These youth lifters are sort of unique in that they're all doing other sports. A lot of adults that come to the sport find it looking for that competitive outlet maybe after they've graduated high school, university. There's definitely people that weren't athletes through high school and university and find it later in life, but lots of people who had that competitive outlet at some point in time in their life, so you sort of lose that as you get older sometimes, and the sport can definitely fill that void for some people.
Yeah, that's definitely what it was for me. I started lifting in the gym, and this gave me a reason to keep striving, to push yourself and push your goals, push your limits. Just keep that competitiveness that you kind of grew up with if you played in sports.
And there's all sorts of age ranges. This weekend at Provincials, we've got competitors from 8 years old up to somewhere in his 80s. Dusty was yesterday. I'm not sure how old he is, but I know he's a Master 4, which is 80 to 89. So it's really a sport for all sorts of ages and then all sorts of weight classes as well.
Mm-hmm.
we've got 5.5 minutes, just over 5.5 minutes left. We'll take a short break here, and then we will be back with the bench press portion, the bench only portion of our provincial championships. And then we'll be back to the youth lifting to round out this morning's session. So we'll see you in just over 5 minutes.
Getting started now. Our first lifter will be Frankie Nault, who is taking 40 kilos for her opener.
You probably don't have audio on replays sport sheet. Just do this.
Well, I think that means we're ready.
Someone probably turned up the sound.
The bar is loaded for Frankie for 40 kilos.
So we're starting the bench-only portion of Saskatchewan Powerlifting Association Provincials. Frankie Nault is our first lifter from Weyburn.
Nice and smooth opener for her. See what the referees say.
A bit of a technical problem with the lights here. And I see 3 white cards, so we should be good there.
Next up, we have Sandra Nays coming out for 50 kilos for her opener.
Hold up. All right, bar loaded for Sandy. Sandy competes in Masters.
Sandy's been competing for a number of years, has competed at Worlds, has won Worlds as well as a Masters competitor.
It's a huge accomplishment for her.
She's an M3 lifter, so somewhere in her
60s.
60s.
I know, I
Thank
have
you.
to like work it out in my
It's
head.
too early for math this morning.
Nice smooth
Smooth
opener.
opener.
Oh, easy work, Sandy. All right, 2 white lights for Sandy.
And in the bench press portion, there are 3 commands that the athletes must abide by. There's a start when the athlete's elbows locked, and then when they bring it down to their chest, there's a press command before they can leave their chest, and then they have to hold it at lockout before the head referee gives that rack command. And for new lifters, that's the most common fault in the bench press, would be just not listening to commands. Usually because they're just not used to it. In the gym, they might say the commands to themselves, but it's definitely different listening to that audible command rather than just saying it in your head.
Sometimes those commands take a bit longer than you would normally expect, so you just forget about it.
And sometimes they're longer than you would like them to be, but that's the reality. The referee's looking for the bar to be motionless before they give you that command.
So now we have Shauna Hammer. She is taking 57.5 kilos for her opener. Made quick work of that. 3 white lights. Referees agree. Good lift.
We have Ava, Kieran, and Tori.
Our next lifter is Mava Bridges, who's from Moose Jaw. Now, Mava's our first athlete lifting in the equipped division, so that means she does have a bench shirt on. The bench shirt is a different category than raw or classic, so equipped is a different category. And the bench shirt, there's definitely some skill to using it. You have to control the bar a little bit more as it comes to your chest. The bench shirt is a polyester material that doesn't stretch. So you have to control the bar a little bit more, but then as soon as you get that press, there's a little bit more pop off the chest. And right now she's just explaining to the head spotter how she wants that handoff to come out.
Mava will be taking 90 kilograms for her opener.
And she does hold some national records, and I believe, based on numbers, the plan will be that she attempts the national record today.
We'll see how these go. Nice smooth opener for Miko. We'll see what the referees say. 3 white lights, good lift.
And I think the national record is 95 kilos, so I would anticipate she will be jumping to that on her second attempt.
Next up we have Kieran, who is also attempting 90 kilos.
Kieran's relatively new to the sport. He's from Weyburn and I think has been lifting for less than a year, or competing for less than a year, I should say. I know he plays football here in Weyburn at the Weyburn Comprehensive High School, and he might have been in the gym before he started competing.
Nice easy opener for Kieran. Referees agree, 3 white lights.
And we were talking about multi-sport athletes in the youth session. I think Kieran had a football game here in Weyburn yesterday. So football on Saturday, powerlifting on Sunday. Next up we have Tori Anholt, and Tori lifted yesterday in the powerlifting session, or the 3-lift session, and then has chosen to also do bench only today, just a little bit more platform experience, a little bit more competition. So opening up with 92.5.
Push, push, push. Easy.
The referees say that's a good lift for Tori, 3 white lights.
And looking at the score sheet from yesterday, that actually ties what she benched yesterday. So yesterday in the powerlifting portion, she opened at 87.5 and did 92.5 on her second, and then missed 100 on her third. And today she opted to open at 92.5. So I'd expect to see her going after that 100 kilo bench. 100 kilos is a bit of a milestone to hit. So I expect that she will be aiming for that today.
Next up we have Bryce Coots. He is taking 105 kilos for his opener. He also lifted yesterday in 3 lift, I believe.
He spotted and loaded yesterday.
I think he lifted.
He might have lifted yesterday too. We'll try and pull that up for you.
I could be lying. I don't think I am, though.
No, I think you're correct.
Okay.
Yes, he lifted, you're right. He lifted in our Masters category yesterday. And yesterday he finished with 110 bench, so he opened at the same point as he did yesterday with that 105. Yesterday he did 105, 110, and then missed 112. So I'm kind of expecting to see those same jumps and try and hit that 112.5 today.
Hopefully he can come back for that today.
Next up we have Dean Schwartz opening up with 140 kilos.
Makes pretty easy work of that. We'll see what the referees say. 3 white lights. It's a good lift. Next, we will be taking the bar to 145 kilos for Raymond Hickey. He will be the last person lifting in this flight, and then we will go back into the second attempt of bench press.
And it's been a number of years since we have seen Raymond on the platform at Saskatchewan powerlifting events. Looks like his last competition was CPU Nationals in 2020. So it's good to see him back. Obviously a very strong bencher. Opening up with 145. His previous best is 210 kilos, so I expect this to move well. Now, I don't know how training has been the last few years, but
Oh, smoke that.
very easy. Just getting back on the platform, it looks like today, and getting that competition experience. I expect to see a big jump for his next attempt.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that. Now we are back to the top of the order. Frankie Nault will be taking 45 kilos for her second attempt. Nice 5 kilo increase from her opener.
And this is her first competition back since having a baby.
All right, bars loaded for
I
Frankie.
want to say she had the baby about 6 months ago. I know she's been in the gym. She was in the gym most of her pregnancy, just not powerlifting specifically. So I think she's excited to be back on the platform and be working towards some new goals.
Yeah, she told me to give her a shout out for everything being a post-pregnancy PR today, so.
I'll look good.
Nice and smooth. 3 white lights from the referees.
Yeah, there's definitely so many changes that your body goes through pregnancy and in postpartum. So I know adjusting to that can be a bit of a challenge for some, but it's always exciting when people are feeling well enough and confident enough to be back on the platform.
Next up, we have Sandra Nees, who is coming out for 55 kilos on her second attempt.
Bars loaded for Sandy.
Makes pretty easy work of that. No real issues there. Referees agree. 3 white lights. It's a good lift.
And it looks like to me the provincial record for Sandy is 60 kilos, so I'm guessing we're going to see 60.5 on the bar for her third attempt. Shauna's up next here. Shauna actually just returned from competing at Masters Worlds in Mongolia. And that was just about, I want to say 2 weeks ago.
Shauna will be taking 62.5 kilos for her second attempt.
Push, 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 push.
Fights right through that. 3 white lights. That's a good lift.
Definitely a bit slow on that one, so I expect just a 2.5 kilo jump for her third, but I would anticipate she didn't peak for this competition. She's just here having fun, having competed just 2 weeks ago.
Especially coming off Worlds. It's
And
nice
the
just to
travel
come-
from Mongolia, that in itself is highly fatiguing, and I would say it takes probably a few weeks to feel like you're 100% normal again.
Next up, we have Tori. She is coming out for 95 kilos.
All right, bars loaded for
So a
Tori.
2.5 kilo jump from her opener.
Thought this attempt might be a little bit bigger of a jump from her opener, just based on trying to get to that 100 kilos, but maybe the opener didn't quite feel as good as she had hoped, so just trying to get every total that she can today. Or every kilo that she can today.
I wasn't going to call you on it, but
Push, push, push,
There
push!
we go. She fights through that.
I think that should be a good lift.
Yep, 3 white lights. It is a good lift. I would expect another smaller jump for her based on how that moved, but we will see. So next up we have Maeva Bridges, who is coming out for 95.5 kilos, which will be a provincial and national record. We just have to switch out the referees to make sure that we have all national level referees who are sitting in the chairs to assure that this record is to standard. So a moment of patience with us while we switch to those referees.
Bars loaded for Maeva.
All right, bar is called loaded. Everyone getting behind Maeva here as she attempts this national record. Again, Maeva is an M3 lifter. Equipped.
Push, 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 push!
Drives that back up through her sticking point. We'll see what the referees say. The referees say 3 white lights. That is a good lift, and Maeva is bringing home a new national record. So next up we have Kieran Hamill, who appears to be taking a provincial record at 95.5 kilos.
Get after it, bud.
Welcome back, Ray.
Bit of multitasking this morning. Just had to get those 3 national referees in the chair for that attempt.
Get after it.
Kieran comes out calm, cool, and collected, ready for this provincial record attempt.
And one of his favorite memories in powerlifting is his first provincial record at the Rise competition. So trying to break that here today.
Looks like he's done it. We'll see what the
Easy.
referees say. 3 white lights. It's a good lift.
So from the referees, besides the 3 commands that the lifter must listen to, the referees are also watching to make sure the head, the butt, and the feet stay in contact with the ground, as well as the bar only goes down once and up once. The bar can't go up and down on the way up or down. That would be a blue card if that happened. And I would say that those are the main infractions that the referees are watching for. There is a lot of some subtle small rules, but in general, usually commands and then just making sure that that head, feet, and butt don't move are the main infractions.
Now we have Bryce Coots coming out for 110 kilos. Need easy work with his opener, so I'm anticipating this should move well. 5 kilo increase. Oh. Little bobble off the chest, just a bit too much. Perhaps a small technical error.
So you might have noticed that as he pressed that up, it went up a little bit and then came down, and then it did start going back up. So even if he had been able to lock that out, he would have got called on some downward movement there.
Which would have been the blue card that you were just mentioning.
Yeah. And that could have been just a little bit of fatigue for Bryce as well, having competed yesterday. It's always hard to compete. It's hard to max out 2 days in a row, which is essentially what he's trying to do today. Next lifter is Dean Schwartz, taking 147.5. And I know in the last year, Dean had a bit of a battle with cancer, so it's awesome to see him back on the platform and competing. And for reference, if you're not familiar with kilos, 147.5 is 325 pounds.
It's a huge bench. Fights right through that sticking point. Referees say 3 white lights. It's a good lift.
Definitely slow through that lockout, but no obvious downward movement, so just fine there.
Next up, we have Raymond Hickey, who has taken a 10-kilo increase from his opener. I'm anticipating this will move well based on his opener.
Yeah, his opener flew there. So I'm guessing all of his attempts, based on only a 10-kilo jump between his first and second, I'm guessing at most we'll see a 10-kilo jump between his second and third.
Yeah.
But like I said, I think his best bench ever in competition is 210 kilos, so well below that right now. But obviously a strong bencher, and good to see him back on the platform.
Makes that absolutely fly as well.
And that wraps up the second round of bench press. So starting our third attempts here. Frankie Nault's asking for 47.5. And I'm sure there's a variety of goals that people have had going into today. So some people might just be trying to get that platform experience. There could be some that are trying to hit a regional qualifying total that would allow them to compete at Easterns, Centrals, or Western Canadians. And Western Canadians is being held next March in Moose Jaw. Or they could be trying to hit their national qualifying total as well. So there's different levels of totals that you have to hit to compete at certain regional and national events. And then they could just be trying to hit new PBs or the national records, the provincial records. I see another provincial record on the board there for Shauna coming up. For now, Frankie's taking 47.5.
Just under 105 pounds. Just a
Not
bit
quite there today. Still, we'll get credit for that 45 kilo second attempt.
Next up, we have Sandra Mays, who has opted for a 2.5 kilo increase from her second. She will be attempting 57.5 kilos for her third bench press attempt.
I was anticipating Sandy to go 60.5 to get that national record, or sorry, provincial record, but
Perhaps,
obviously the second one didn't feel
not quite as
good as she had hoped. Which sometimes it's better to take a smaller jump and end on a successful note rather than take a bigger jump and end on a failure. Sandy's from Saskatoon, training out of Rise Strength Lab.
She made pretty easy work of that.
Well, I think 60.5 might have been there today for her.
Sometimes things move a bit better than they feel, though, so it's always difficult. It looks like we're loading up a provincial record attempt for Shauna Hammer at 65.5 kilos. And Shauna finished in 6th place at Masters Worlds as a Master 257 kilo lifter. And at Worlds, she benched 62.5 and then missed 65 on her third. So this would be a bit of redemption here today, getting that attempt she missed at Worlds and then a provincial record here as well.
Push, push, push.
just not
a bit
quite
too
there.
much.
Came back a little bit right off the chest, and it's almost impossible to recover from that position. So Tori's up next with 97.5.
Opted for another 2.5 kilo increase. Probably feeling the fatigue. She had a huge day yesterday, so some nice safe bench attempts.
And I think yesterday she benched 95 in the 3 lift meet, so this would be a bit of a personal best there as well.
Yeah, I think she benched 95, missed 100 yesterday.
Oh no, sorry, I was wrong. She opened at the same thing that she made yesterday. So she benched 92.5 yesterday. So she's already beat what she did yesterday, just trying to get a couple more kilos on the bar here. There we go.
She's fighting through that sticking
Oh, I
point.
think she might have it.
Just gotta lock it up, lock those elbows. Oh,
That was so close.
such a good fight.
She fought through that initial sticking point and then just unfortunately hit a second one just shy of lockout. She'll still be credited with her second attempt of 95 kilos and 2.5 kilos higher than she did yesterday as well. All right, Kieran is up next, taking 100, which will be another provincial record. He's trying to break his own provincial record, which he did on his second attempt.
Another provincial record attempt. Bars looking for Kieran. Let's go. Let's get behind Kieran for this one.
Get after it.
And he says his coach, Ryan Fowler, is an extremely sensitive coach and gets very emotional when we make him all proud. So we'll see if Coach Fowler gets emotional on this attempt.
Fights through that sticking point. Looked like a good lift to me. We'll see what the referees say. 3 white lights. Fowler's definitely emotional.
All right, and another national record attempt here coming up for Maeva.
Maeva will be attempting 100.5 kilos. We're just going to take a moment to switch out the referees. While we do that, let's give a shout out to our sponsors again. We have Welsh Kitchen, Flawless Nutrition, Olympia In-Depth Performance, Inner Strength Products, and SPD Apparel Canada. Definitely couldn't do any of this without our sponsors.
Another national record attempt. We have our national record referees. All right, Mark, what did Maeva? It's 100.5 kilos.
All right, here comes Maeva for 100.5 kilograms. Explaining to the head spotter again about how she likes her handoff. The handoffs are exceptionally important in equipped lifting because the shirt's so finicky.
Roll it. Come on, Maeva, you got this.
Push.
Fighting through that sticking point, just gotta lock those elbows. Still fighting. No. Just a bit too much today for Maeva. That was a good fight though, definitely a good attempt call. Next up, we'll be taking the bar to 112.5 kilograms for Bryce Coots.
bar loaded for Bryce.
All right, the bar is loaded for Bryce. So we have 3 more lifters in this flight, and then we will go into our youth bench press. Let's see, Bryce missed 110 kilos on his second. He's opted to go up 2.5. We'll see how this goes for him. Nice and smooth. It looked like a good lift to me. We'll see what the referees say. 3 white lights. He came back and got that on his third. We will now be taking the bar to 150 kilograms for Dean Schwartz. Dean has opted for a 2.5 kilo increase, so the smallest increase that you can take. Perhaps the second didn't move as well as he had hoped. Try to get a couple extra kilos on that lift though. And the bar is loaded for Dean. Here he comes. Nice and smooth, locks it up. We'll see what the referees have to say about that. The referees say that's a good lift, 3 white lights. Next, we are taking the bar to 170 kilos for Raymond Hicks. He made a 10 kilo increase from his first to his second and has opted for a 15 kilo increase to his third. I would anticipate this to move well based on how his opener and his second have moved as well. This is a massive bench press, 375 pounds. Nice and easy. We'll see what the referees say. 3 white lights, it's a good lift. No big problems there.
After the youth bench and deadlift, we'll have a 20-minute break and we'll do our medals then. So don't run away, bench only. Now we're going to switch over our bar to the... We'll start youth bench. It's time to thank our sponsors, Inner Strength Products, which is kind of the back.
So now we're just taking out the standard competition bar and swapping it for the youth bar so that we can get started on the youth bench session.
You can change the cameras though. Yeah, you can change the cameras 1, 2, and 3 if you want. That just changes your feed here.
Alright, lifting orders for our youth will be Shay, Karina.
So our first lifter for the youth session will be Shay. She is taking 22.5 kilos for her opener.
Shay is from Regina and trains out of Metal. She's been lifting for 3 years already.
I didn't even know about powerlifting when I was her age, let alone have 3 years of lifting experience under my belt. That's incredible.
Yeah, I wish.
Drives that up, no issues. Looked like a good lift to me.
Looks good. 3 white lights. Easy opener.
Next up, we have Kalina coming out for 25 kilos for her opener.
Kalina is also from Regina, training out of Metal. And her coach, Tanya, got her interested in powerlifting. She's also been lifting for 3 years.
All right, arm load for Kalina.
Looks good.
Looking good, Kalina.
Do you need to go help?
3 white lights.
I have to
We have
change.
Hudson and Callum.
Do you want? Are you good here, or do you want to? Do you want me to do all this stuff?
Sure. Sure, I can.
Just hit the one button there, so like it needs me. Just the one. So I have the light. And that looked like a good lift for Max. And 3 white lights from the refs. That's a good lift for Max.
Awesome.
Max will be followed by Hudson. Just a quick introduction since our commentators have changed here. I'm Ryan Stidd, and I'm joined with Charlene. Joined by Charlene. And we had to switch out because our former commentators are off to get ready to referee the next session. So a little bit of a hot seat here. So
Everyone wearing many hats at this meet.
yep, as usual.
Bars loaded for Hudson.
Hudson's coming out at 30 kilos for his opening bench. Hudson's in the Youth 1 division, which is 8 and 9-year-olds.
Looks good.
Whoa. Little fall ball on the rack there, but looked like a good bench.
3 whites.
So Hudson will be followed by our last bencher, Callum, with 46 kilos.
Mexican Callum. 46 kilos.
So the youth division, if you're just joining us, and I'm not sure if they covered this morning, is a fairly new division for Canadian powerlifting. It consists of 3 different divisions inside of it: Youth 1, 2, and 3. Youth 1 is 8 and 9 years old. Youth 2 is 10. No, am I saying this wrong? 8 and 9, 10 and 11, 12 and 13.
Yeah.
That doesn't sound right. Is that
That's
right?
right. Sub-juniors 14.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
I am a referee, and sometimes I still forget. Up is Callum with 46 kilos. Callum in the youth division, so the oldest of the youth. Looked like a good bench.
Looks nice. Nice and easy opener.
And the refs say 3 white lights, good lift. So there's a wide span of development between Youth 1 and Youth 3. You see that with some of our lifters here.
So we have Shay coming out for her second attempt here. Just getting some foot blocks set up for her.
So lifters can optionally use foot blocks to help get them a better foot position. Especially shorter lifters find this to be beneficial since the bench is set to one height. So foot blocks can help to get a better leg drive in the bench. Shay is from Regina, trains at the Metal Gym.
Looked good. See what the refs say.
3 white lights for sure. Good lift. And Shay will be followed by Kalina McKenna. Kalina's in the Youth 3 division as well. She's benching. She's going for 30 kilos here. She was successful with 25 in her opener.
I believe she trains with Shay at Medal, both in Regina.
Yep. And she's currently in grade 8. There's probably not too many grade 8s that can bench that much. So 3 white lights, good lift.
Awesome.
Good fight too. It was not a super easy lift, but definitely fought through it.
Yeah, stuck with it.
Hudson's up next. Hudson's from here in Weyburn, coached by his dad, Ryan Fowler.
He wanted to send a big thanks to his mom and his dad for helping coach him, getting him into powerlifting, and his auntie Rhea.
And notably not me, who is his uncle. He definitely chose to exclude me from his thanks.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, looked like a good bench. And with 1 light, 3 white lights, good lift. Good lift for Hudson. Next up is Max Dolan. Max trains out of Outlook with his family up there. They're a big lifting family. His father, Jeff, competed for a long time in strongman. Recently has done some powerlifting, and all the kids compete in powerlifting, I believe.
Carlos Max, 32.5 kilos. Let's go.
Max is currently in grade 6.
He's going to attempt 32.5 kilos here.
Oh, just a little bit too much today, I think. He'll have a chance to come out for that on his third, though. Up next, 50 kilos for Callum. Callum's also out of Regina, and he trains at his home. So he got into lifting because he wanted to work out with his dad.
All right, here comes Callum.
50 kilos, 110 pounds. Successful with 46 on his opening attempt, so.
Nice and smooth.
Good to me, referees, see what they say. 3 white lights, a good lift for Callum. We'll have a short break here, short rest, 1 minute break between attempts because there's only 5 lifters. They give them a 1 minute compensatory time.
And then we're on to third attempts for bench.
Yeah. That's the wrong video. So this morning we have our youth and our bench only. We just finished. So smaller session this morning with just the 5 youth lifters and then bench only in the middle there. And then this afternoon we will have our sub-junior and juniors starting lifting at 1 p.m. local Saskatchewan time.
Should be a good session. I think it's a couple pretty full flights, so should be some good lifting.
Yeah, it looks like a good session for sure. We have time up, so they'll load the bar then for Cheyenne. She's coming out for 30 kilos. She was successful with 22.5 and 25 kilos in her first 2. So a bit of a bigger jump to her third, going for 30 kilos. Oh, it's a little too much today, I
Not
think.
today.
5 kilos is a pretty big jump there for that percentage there, but good effort. Next out is Kalina with 30.5 kilos. She's going for a provincial record here, I think. Anytime you see an odd multiple, most in powerlifting you have to go up by 2.5 kilos. So 32.5 or 30 kilos is a normal attempt. So because she's going 30.5, you know it's some sort of record.
All right, bars loaded if you plan. Let's hear it for Kalina.
Well, she's fighting through it. A sticking point, but she looks like she's getting through. Look good to me. What do the referees say? 3 white lights, good lift, new provincial record for Kalina. Max is coming out for 32.5 kilos. He misses on his second attempt, but gets another attempt here on his thirds.
See if he can get it this time.
Could be a little technical issue. All sorts of things can happen on bench.
Just getting those foot blocks set up for him.
Yeah, I don't know if he had foot blocks on his second attempt.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, so I wonder if that might be a little change, try and get a little more leg drive into the bench.
Bars loaded for Max.
Max from Outlook, Saskatchewan, coached by his dad, Jeff.
Looked pretty good.
Refs say 2 white lights, good lift, good lift. Way to come back and get that on a third. Next up is Hudson Fowler with 35 kilos.
All right, up next we have Hudson. 35.
Hudson again from here in Weyburn, being coached by his dad Ryan and being reffed by his mom Heidi.
I think he told me that the way he got interested in powerlifting was that it runs in the family.
It does. His dad's been lifting since I think 2000 or 2001, and his mom has been competing since 2006 or 7, I think. His older brother also competes, but was supposed to compete this weekend, but ended up having to go to a football game. Looked good to me. A little bit of a fight for him, but 3 white lights. Good lift for Hudson.
He's happy about that one.
Yep.
All right, our last lifter of the day is Callum. He's going to be attempting.
Our last lifter in the bench will be Callum, going for 65 kilos. Pretty darn big jump here, going from 46 to 50, then to 65.
That is a big jump.
Yeah. But his lifts have all looked pretty easy, so maybe just, happy with 50 and just seeing what's out there. 65 kilos is 143 pounds.
He is benching over his body weight here.
Yep. Yep, he weighed in at 59.7, so successful to be over body weight, which is a pretty darn impressive bench for a 12 or 13-year-old. I'm not sure his actual age. Oh, just a little too much today. Good try, Callum. And still, 50 kilos is a darn good bench for that age. So I think that he's got a bright future in the sport if he sticks with it. So we'll now have a 10-minute break, or 20-minute break, I guess, sorry, before we go into the deadlifts. So it gives the lifters time to go back and warm up since we don't have a bench-only session here. We have instead of a 10-minute break, we'll have a 20-minute break. So lifters get a chance to warm up, and then we'll come out for deadlifts. And so we'll come back to you in about 20 minutes. Just a quick interjection, we're having our bench only awards here, so
And he benched
Okay, because they said it was when I was talking to she said it was the warm-up part. That's okay. If
open 120 kilo lifter,
and it's the
gold
one they're
medal will
using
be
to
Brayden, and he benched 170 kilos.
okay.
Brayden goes on a 3-year hiatus, but we are happy to see him back.
Yep,
Yeah,
you
Rainbow.
would need to put it in the tube. Yeah, because I've got
Alright,
space in my car.
receiving a silver medal in
Okay,
the
so about-
under 93 men's Masters 2 is Bryce with 112.5 kilos. Good job, guys. Receiving a gold medal today will be Dean Schwartz with 150 kilos.
Here you go, Dean.
Gold medal to Dean. Happy to see you back. Awesome work, guys.
Good job, man.
84 kilo silver medalist is Frankie with 45 kilos. John Frankie. Alright, receiving a gold medal today is Tori with a bench press of 95 kilos. Good work, Tori. Awesome job, ladies.
Get it.
Alright, in the Masters 3 84 plus kilo division, receiving a gold medal today is Sandra with 57.5 kilos.
And we're back here with start the deadlift in about 1 minute time here. And we'll be starting with Hudson Fowler. So the deadlift is conceivably the easiest of the lifts. There's only one command from your referee, and that's the down command, so lifters can come out and start the lift whenever they're ready. Pull the bar up to waist height, standing with their shoulders back and knees straight, and then the head referee will give a down command. There are some technicalities and stuff like that that can catch up, but it does, for many, it's considered the easiest of the three.
Maybe depends who you ask.
For sure. It may not be your best lift, but
There you
it
go.
does seem to be the simplest for many. And our time has expired, so we'll be loading the bar for Hudson Fowler.
Here he comes.
47.5 kilos. Got a little forward on those toes there at the start, but good lift anyway. He was able to recover.
Nice opener for him.
So the athlete has to stand with their knees locked and their
Following him will be Kalina.
hip through.
She's opening with 57.5 kilos
Next we have Kalina
and
Max.
39 kilos body weight, so well over her body weight for deadlift.
Yeah, it's certainly a good deadlift opener.
All right, the bar's loaded for Kalina. She is 57
Clean out of the metal gym in Regina.
Look nice and easy.
Like a very easy opener for Kalina.
And refs say it's a good lift.
Next up we have Max.
Max Dolan's up next with 60 kilos.
And we're loading the bar for Max with 60 kilos. All right, the bar's loaded for Hudson. Oh, sorry, the bar's loaded for Max.
Looks like our screen might be a little behind there. Max coming out with 60 kilos. Like a good lift. Referees agree, 3 white lights. I'll be right back. I'm just going to go help with some computer technicalities.
All right, looks like we're back in business here. So Shay is up next with 60 kilos. That looked like a really easy opener for her.
Good lift for Shay.
Next up we have Callum with 102.5.
Callum's coming out next with 102.5 kilos, 226 pounds for his opener.
You'll note the lifters are wearing a belt around their waist, and this helps to increase abdominal pressure and help brace a little bit, and helps you stabilize your spine a bit. So a bit of safety, a bit of support. Generally, most people wear it for both squat and deadlift.
Next we have Callum.
Callum with a 102.5 kilo opener.
Bar's loaded for Callum.
This is not that far away from a double bodyweight opening deadlift.
Easy work.
Real fast.
Real easy opener. Good lift for Callum. See Callum with very technical setup, very nice flat back, and good technique all around for Callum. Next we will have Hudson Fowler coming out for 51.5 kilos. We will have a 1 minute break here as well. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. Hudson competing in the Youth 1 74 kilo division. So overall, all of our lifters are competing in different divisions, so they're all champions today. As I like to say, everyone's got their first deadlift in, so they've got a total now. They've all successfully made one attempt at least in each discipline. So if someone was unsuccessful in one discipline, they would not be able to make a total. But everyone's got a total now, and they're all on the board. So Hudson bar is at 51.5 kilos.
This must be a provincial record.
Besides powerlifting, Hudson enjoys football, wrestling. Good lift for Hudson.
Max up next with 65 kilos for his second deadlift. 5 kilo jump from his opener of 60, which he got successfully.
Besides powerlifting, Max also enjoys soccer, football, track and field, drawing, video games, and hanging out with friends. Max has been lifting for a few years now. I think he was one of our first youth lifters in the province, along with his brothers.
Pretty solid.
Yeah, good pull. Good 3 weight lights from the refs. Good lift from Max. Shay will be following with the same weight, 65 kilos. Shay competing in the Youth 3 division, 52 kilo class. Good technique on that deadlift and 3 weight lights. Kalina coming out now, 67.5 kilos. Kalina weighed in at 39 kilos, so this is, again, getting close to, this is 1.5 times and getting close to 2 times body weight deadlift here.
10 kilo jump from her opener, which looked pretty easy if I remember, so we'll see what she does here.
Kalina's also been lifting, I think, as long as there's been a youth division as well, so she's been around for quite a while. As long as you can say that for a youth lifter, I guess.
Yeah, I would have loved to discover powerlifting at 8, 9, 10 years old.
Yeah, I think I was about 24, so.
I didn't step foot in a gym till I was 20. So.
All right, bars loaded for Kalina. 148 pounds.
Beautiful pull. Referees agree. 3 white lights for Kalina. Callum going for 120 kilos. This is now a double body weight attempt for Callum.
264 pounds for Callum.
It's a big pull.
Yeah. So might be Callum's first meet. I don't recall seeing. Well, I guess it can't be his first meet.
He may have been at one earlier this year.
Yeah. It's the first time I've seen Callum lift, but definitely showing solid technique and great strength. So. Bars load for Callum, 120 kilos. Double body weight attempt here.
Over 2 times body weight.
Real fast.
Super easy pull there. 3 white lights, good lift. You'll note most lifters pull with a mixed grip, so one hand over, one hand under the bar. This just helps to create a strong grip and make it easier to hold onto the barbell.
And I think most of the youth are lifting conventional.
Yeah, I think everyone's pulling conventional. There's also a sumo technique in powerlifting where your legs would be outside your arms. Definitely more common, I think, in the older lifters. And by older, I mean not youth. Most lifters would start pulling conventional, and then as they grew in the sport, they might convert to sumo as they play with the technique. And sumo can be considered a little more technical, but it's definitely not. Neither of them are an easy pull. They both take solid technique to maximize. You also note the youth are pulling or using a 10 kilo barbell. This is especially important in the bench press with some of the attempts where a normal barbell and collars weighs 25 kilos. That would be more than some of the lifters opened with on the bench. So we use a lighter barbell to allow them to lift something more manageable.
Here's Hudson with 55 for his third attempt.
Bit of a fight, but looked good to me. Referees say 3 white lights. That's a 9 for 9 day for Hudson.
He'll be happy about that.
I'm sure. All he told me after his squats was he didn't get any red lights. So.
That was his goal. 27 white lights?
Yeah, well, there you go.
That's what he wanted.
Max will be coming out for 70 kilos next. Max has made his first 2 at 60 and 65, and a 5 kilo jump to 70. You might see the white on the red barbell there. That's chalk from the lifter's hands. And in third attempts here, the spotter loaders will clean the bar between every attempt just to make sure that there's a good opportunity for every lifter to get the best grip possible.
All right, bars loaded for Max.
Max coming out for 70 kilos.
Here you go, buddy. Rip it up there.
All you got.
Good fight from Max. Referees, 3 white lights. Good lift for Max. Next up will be Shay with 72.5 kilos.
A little bit bigger jump from her second attempt of 65. She's going up 7.5 kilos for this one, for her third attempt.
All right, bars loaded for Shay.
So once we finish out the deadlifts here, we have 3 lifts left. Then we'll have the awards before we move on to a break before our next session this afternoon, 1 p.m. Looked like a great pull. 3 white lights. Good lift. Good lift. Looks like there's still a little more in the tank there too. Kalina coming out for 75 kilos. She's going to be within, like, double body weight would be another 3 kilos in the bar, I think. So this is a darn big pull. And I think her second was very comfortable looking. So I think this shouldn't be too much of a challenge, too much of an ask for her.
All right, bars loaded.
Bars loaded for 75 kilos for Kalina.
Go get it.
Looks like a great pull.
Pretty solid.
Referees say 3 white lights. For our smallest lifter, she had our second biggest deadlift. That's very impressive. She'll definitely have a big future in the sport if she sticks with it.
Last up, we have Callum, and he is attempting 130 kilos for his third deadlift. And I think his second was pretty easy.
It was indeed, I think so too. So shouldn't be, again, too much of an ask for him to come after this, but you never know, things can happen on the platform. Sometimes you can get a little too amped up and forget technique, but he's been a pretty calm and collected lifter, I'd say, today. So. Again, just getting the bar all ready for our lifter.
Bars loaded for Callum.
Bars loaded, 130 kilos for Callum. And our final lift of the morning.
Got this. Easy.
Super easy pull for a Sarah Temp there. And
Definitely got
referees-
more in the tank.
Referees, 3 white lights, good lift. And that'll be our last lift of the morning. So we will take a break here before they do hand out the awards. And then our next session will start at 1 p.m. and that'll be our sub-junior and juniors. So thanks, Shar, for joining me.
Thank you.
I know this wasn't your choice of positions, but it's always nice to have a second person on here.
For sure. Good to push yourself outside your comfort zone.
Exactly. So we'll come back here for we'll leave us running for the awards, and then we'll come back at 1 p.m. on the next session. And thanks for joining us.
All you lifters, please get ready behind the curtain trees to receive your medals. All right, we're going to present our medals now, and our boys Youth 3 under 66 receiving a gold medal today with a total of 295 kilos is Callum. Good work, Callum. Great job, Callum. All right, our Youth 2 under 59 men's is today receiving a gold medal is Max with a total of 162.5 kilos. Good job, Max.
Oh, careful.
Good job, Max. All right, our Youth 1 under 74 with receiving a gold medal today is Hudson Fowler with a total of 140 kilos. Good job, Hudson. All medal with a total of 150.5 kilos. Good job, Trayvon. All right, our female U3 under 52 kilos receiving a gold medal today is Shanna with 150 kilo total. Good job, Shanna. We want to thank Weyburn Credit Union and MNP for the donations towards the youth prize packages. So each lifter is going home with a backpack full of goodies today from them. We much appreciate it. Thank you all our youth lifters. You guys did great today.